attaining everything. 在当we're born, we're grown, enemies dead, heaven's able land. The night had fallen, Lord plant my feet on high the ground. Don't be dismayed. Enemies dead, peace on heaven's table land, a higher plan that night had fallen. Plant my feet on high the ground. I want to live above the world, though Satan's thought that me a home. For faith has got a joyful song, the song of sin on high the ground. I want to scale the almost high and catch a gleam of glory bright. But still thou pray, till have I found, Lord, plant my feet on high the ground. Ah, then let me stand by faith on heaven's able land, a higher plan than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on high the ground. That's all kneel down and praying one accord. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Hallelujah. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall begin our morning section. Today, this is the last class regarding to the Bible character. So we spent 4 classes talking about Abraham and Isaac. And we reserved the last section to talk about the life of Jacob or the faith of Jacob. And you might wonder,
Why? Because if you look into the stories, if you look at the life of Abraham, the Bible talks a lot about him. You look at the life of Jacob, the Bible talks even more about him. But how come we reserve 2 classes for Abraham, 2 classes for Isaac, but only 1 class for Jacob? It's because Abraham, in his life, he demonstrates the example of faith. Isaac, also in his simple life, he demonstrates the meaning of trusting in God. However, in the life of Jacob, it's very different. Majority of his life, most of his story is not regarding to faith or trust in God. In fact, most of his life is about only remember God when in trouble, only come to God when desperate and nowhere else to go. Okay? So they are not so much about Jacob when we want to talk about example of faith. His life is a lot of difficulty, desperation, dead end. Then, only then, he found that God is important. Okay? So, unfortunately, what should I say? Because of this kind of mentality, only come to God when nowhere else to go. Only remember God when in desperation. Because of that, you see majority of the story, most of his life, he was always in sorrow, always in difficulty. As we know the story about Jacob, since young, because of the red stew, so his brother want to kill him. Okay? So since young, his brother wants to kill him. That's why he need to run for his life. And who knows, when he ran away from home, he found the love of his life. But then over there, he built a family, but his father-in-law also lied to him, changed his wages, manipulate his life, and try to take everything away from him that he need to guard up and fled for his life again. Though now he got a family, 2 wives, 2 concubines, a lot of animal herds, he got his own possession. However, that family did not provide him any peace of mind. Why? Because they were always fighting. The wives were fighting, the concubines were fighting, the children, they hate each other. So, though he owned a family, but the family is like a living hell for him. Okay? Continue. Now, he got some kind of family. He got a lot of possession, but he ran away from his father-in-law. On the way home, he knew he needed to face the greatest fear in his life, which is his brother. As he took the journey home, knowing that he needed to face his brother, he was terrified, knowing his brother sworn to kill him. Something fades away as time passes by, but something only gets deeper as time passes by. So, just because he was away from home for 20 years doesn't mean his brother totally forgot about it. No. He heard as he was approaching the house of his father, he heard his brother came toward him on the journey toward him with 400 men. For what? Party time? No. Why was his brother on the way to meet him with 400 men? Because his brother was ready to kill them all. Seriously, that's what you don't go and see the brother you haven't seen for years, 20 years. Brother, I miss you so much. You don't go and do that with 400 men. His brother Esau inherited everything from Isaac, including, again, the military power from Abraham. He became a very powerful warlord in that region. And he is coming toward you with 400 men. You knew what was coming. So Jacob knew what was coming. So Jacob, not a very nice guy. You can tell from the Bible, he wasn't a very nice guy. Okay? He was a very selfish man. He was a very cunning man. Okay? So you know what? At this very moment, Jacob, who only loved himself, he rearranged the group. He rearranged the group as they were traveling. Concubine goes to the front. Concubine in the front. Concubine's children in the front. And then Leah in the front. And then Rachel, his true love, the last group. You can tell that he grouped it according to his personal delight, his favorite. So he said, if my brother came and start killing the first group, second group can run. And if the second group gets killed, they will buy some time for the third group. Okay? You can see he's very cruel. He put the concubine in the front so that they will buy him time for other group to run away. But the Bible told us, as the story you knew very well, after he brought everybody to the other side of the river toward his brother, he regrouped them 1, 2, 3, 4. My favorite, my least favorite, and then until my favorite. He grouped everyone. But then the Bible said he himself went back to the other side of the river. What does that mean? It means even his love of life, even his Rachel, his love of life is also what you may call that, is also able to be sacrificed. Okay, is also expendable. Okay, you can tell that at this very moment that who does he really love? Himself. He's a very, very, very selfish man. Okay, at the end of the day, if everybody gets killed, at least I'm on the other side of the river. I can still run. And all this group, including the group of Rachel, they can buy me time to run away from my brother's sword. Okay? But what happened, as you all know, then Jacob wrestled with God. You knew the story, right? What happened after Jacob wrestled with God? He became, you don't know. No. He became crippled. Okay? He did not become Israel. Okay? Well, actually, yes, the Lord renamed him Israel. The name means victory, or it can also mean the Prince of God. However, he did not live up to that name until later on. God reminded him again, you Israel. Okay? So that was for later. So now we have a crippled man. Okay? This man who tried to run away from all the danger at the expense of all his loved ones. He was, he is able to sacrifice everything. All his possession, all the animals and livestock, all the concubines, all the children, all the wives, as long as to preserve his own life. He was okay to do that. So sister, don't marry this kind of man, okay? So, but God did not allow him to run away from sin. You know that Jacob was known for his strong leg, always running away, always run. When his brother tried to kill him, he just ran away. When his father-in-law persecuted him, just run away. He is always relying on his leg to run away, to preserve himself. But now, God said, no more running. So, God touched his thigh, and then he became crippled. So what happened now? Well, I guess everybody runs faster than the crippled man. So, group number 1 might be killed. Some of the group number 2 might run away. Group 3, group 4, they should be okay. And then his brother, Esau, with 400 men holding the sword, looking around. Crippled man, you are not going anywhere. Because what happened now? He's the slowest. Okay, he was the slowest now. So God did not allow him to run away. Always run away, always run away. Avoid confrontation, trying to use his own way to solve the problem. No, God did not allow that to continue. So he now crippled, cannot run fast anymore. He needs to face the consequence. He needs to face the reality. He needs to face the trouble that he once caused. So the Bible describes, after he became crippled, he went back to the other side of the bank, the other side of the river, and the Bible describes in detail. The Bible said that he actually went limping forward before every group. Remember that all those groups, the way that it was grouped, is to buy him time so he can run away, right? But now he knew he couldn't run anymore. So he went before every group to face the greatest fear in his life, Esau. Okay? So basically, that's the story of his difficult life. Then, of course, things did not get any easier. Now, Esau, God helped him solve the problem. The next thing you know is he actually went somewhere else, and then his daughter was raped. Okay? His daughter got to a new land out of curiosity, went out into the village with no one protecting her, and she was raped. We call that stupidity. Okay? Innocence. Naive. You know that things will be very different. Story will be told very differently if the daughter who got 12 brothers, big brothers, if she say, I want to go and see the girls in this land. I want to go outside and see. Hey, brothers, can you go with me? And then, some of the big brothers, so, sure, I'll go with you. Things will be very different. But you know what? She put herself in great danger. Checking out on a land she has no idea, out of curiosity of the unknown, lacking of any protection. She went. Then she was raped. Okay? So now, Jacob's daughter was raped. Jacob's son went out, killed everybody. Okay, so you know what? Can you imagine, like how high the blood pressure is for Jacob, like dealing with this kind of children? You know, every day the blood pressure goes like what, 200, 116? Yeah. If your parents are always troubled by blood pressure, maybe you need to ask yourself why, okay? So, you know that, so Jacob need to move again because his son just went out and killed the people of the entire city, all the men of the entire city. And they were new there, like they are the new neighbor. And then what do you do when you move into a new neighborhood? You're supposed to be nice, right? When you move to a new neighborhood, you want to build a relationship. You bake like a pie, cake, and then you go and knock on the door. Oh, I'm new here. Nice meeting you. Oh, my kids is in this school. You try to build friendship. Oh, no, not Jacob's family. Hey, we're new here, so we kill you all. He only got few people. I mean, he got a lot of possession. He got a lot of wealth. But he only got few men to guard his household. Okay? He doesn't have that many people. The reason, a highly likely reason that people did not rob him or hurt him is because of his brother Esau. Esau was a warlord in that area, dominating over the region. So maybe because of that, people tend to be nicer to him, afraid of Esau. Who knows what happened between these two brothers, right? So, but now you are the one that waged the sword. So even Esau, the warlord, has nothing to say if now we got up, we rise against you, because you started. Okay? So the Bible describes Jacob was angry, furious, and terrified. Because now he said, now the whole land, all the Gentile, all the neighbors, all the Canaanites, they will come up against my family, against our family, and we only have a few men. And I don't think my brother will come and save me. Okay? So you know what? He was terrified because everything that his son did. So he was on the run again. So he was relocating, moving to a different land. And then his difficult life did not end there. What happened after he ran again? He fled for his life again. Now it's internal. His favorite wife died. Rachel died. Not only just Rachel died. Oh, he was so hurt. And then the Bible says, his older son, his glory, his favorite, slept with his concubine. So, can you imagine, that Jacob must be very healthy, to still stay alive for so long, dealing with all these up and downs. Like there are so much things happening in his life. His love of life died on the journey. And his older son, his glory, the firstborn, betrayed him. Okay? And it didn't end there. Then what happened? They all gang up. And then now they sold his favorite son to Egypt. Okay? He didn't know. He thought that the son was dead. Can you imagine your older son supposed to inherit everything from you? The glory, the son of your right hand, the son of your strength, that's supposed to take over the family after you, that betray you. And then your favorite little child, Rachel's son, Joseph. And one day that people come back and only with the torn clothes, the torn garment, the torn tunic, with blood smeared over it. Oh, your son was just eaten by the animal. And here, this is for you. Yeah. Can you imagine what kind of life that he went through? Okay? So we spent a lot of time trying to tell you one thing. Majority of time, Jacob has no faith. He doesn't. Unlike his grandfather, the father of faith. Unlike his father, Isaac, living in trusting and fully submission. Jacob is the rebellious one. Jacob always run, always try to do things, always try to break away, always try to figure out what is best for me and me alone. Okay? So you know what? Jacob representing a very cunning generation who are very self-centered and very selfish. So yes, indeed, majority of his life, we do not see faith. We do not. We only see chastisement, after beaten, and then learn something, slowly progress. Then you might ask a question. Such a terrible guy, okay? A terrible guy, a selfish guy, okay? The worst guy that you can marry to. Why? Why did God choose him over his brother Esau? Why? Because in his life, though mostly in majority, he was no good. But there are a few things that make him very different in the eyes of the Lord. You know, if you look at the life of Jacob versus the life of Esau, his older brother, you will find out one thing. His brother actually behaved better than him. He did. The older brother actually, you know, you did not find much fault about the older brother other than he loved to hunt, he likes to eat. That's it. That's the only two things you found about Esau. Huh? He likes to go out and have fun. Hunting. It's not like doing terrible thing, but he likes to hunt. He just likes to go to the wild and shoot the arrow and kill the game and then bring back and then, make good food. He likes to go out running and have fun. Second thing, he likes to eat. Huh? That's it. But compared to Jacob, his brother was deemed quite simple, right? A very simple mind, a very simple guy. He just, like to run around having fun, and then like to eat good food. Okay, that's it. He didn't do anything like terrible, anything malicious, anything evil. You don't see any of those. But why did God choose Jacob over his brother Esau? It all began with the firstborn right. They were twins, but Jacob was only behind for, who knows, a few seconds, if not a few minutes or a few seconds. But firstborn is firstborn. When you were born even 3 seconds ahead of time, you are firstborn. Okay? That's how it is. So they were twins. And they came out. Jacob was the younger one. But he really wanted the firstborn right. That's it. That's the only reason, the main reason that God selected him over his brother Esau, because he cared for the firstborn right. Firstborn right means he received double portion of the inheritance from the father. Firstborn right means he lord over his brothers and sisters. Firstborn right, the most important thing is, firstborn right is a blessing from the Lord. Okay? So, the biggest differences between Esau and Isaac is the way that they treasure the firstborn right. We all know about the story in Genesis chapter 25, how Esau sold his birthright. One day Esau ran back from the wild after hunting. He said, I am so tired, I'm about to faint and die. Give me some of those red stuff that you are making. Okay? And then Jacob said, then sell me your birthright today. Esau said, look, I'm about to die. Who cares about the birthright? Then Jacob said, swear to me. So he did. He swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Okay? So Jacob being very nice. What a nice guy. What a nice merchant. What a nice businessman. Jacob gave Esau bread and stew. Okay? So you know the story. But do you really know what's going on here? Esau, the firstborn. The firstborn, he came home very tired. So number one, when you are very tired, exhausted, famished, and about to die, you don't think clearly. Your mind just go cuckoo, okay? Because you cannot think, you're just too tired, you cannot think straight. Students, let me tell you one thing. In my perspective, well, maybe not in high school right now, but in college, you have project to do, you have homework to finish, you have tests coming up. The worst thing that you can do is to pull a whole-nighter before the day of test. That's the worst thing that you can do. Some people say, but I study much better when I stay up. It doesn't work that way. Yes, when you do not sleep and stay up whole night, you might feel, because you are like the night owl, okay? You're like, oh, you know what, at night I'm all energetic. But you know what happened to night owl when the day break? They up, okay? And when is your test? When is your test? Morning, right? So you say that I study whole night. I'm so energetic. I remember everything. I pull a whole nighter. And then when 8 o'clock, when it gets to the test, you sit down, you knock yourself out. So that's not very smart. That's not very smart. When you are tired and exhausted, you don't think clearly. This is what happened to Esau. He was just too tired, so he sold his birthright over a red stew. Let me tell you from my belief, from reading the passage, I do not think this is the first time Jacob tried to get the firstborn right from his brother. His brother knew what he was after. His brother knew. And this is probably not the first time that Jacob prepared the red stew for his brother. Why did I say that? Because in certain translation, which also in the Hebrew context, he said, Esau said to the brother, he said that please feed me with the same red stew, for I am wearing the same. You found that phrase or you found that word in various translations, including the original text. The same. Why did he use the same? He probably ate the red stew many times. He just every time when he came home, and then Jacob was cooking the red stew, and then he said, "Oh, can I have some?" And then Jacob said, "How about your firstborn right?" Yeah, you wish. Yeah. Right? This might happen many times already. I don't know. The Bible never says, but he said, give me the same thing. Something that he tried before, something that he ate before. Give me that same red stew. I am so weary and tired. But this time, he was just probably too out of his mind. He was just probably too tired. So he said, hey, what is the use of birthright? You can have it. You can have it. So this is in here we see the reason that God chose Jacob over Esau. Simply because that something that God grant to them, God deemed important, the firstborn right, the successor of the name of the family, something that God deemed important. Jacob tried everything he got to go after. When Esau carelessly said, who cares about it? That marks the differences. You are granting the firstborn right to be in TJC, to have the chance of salvation. You are giving that right, but you could choose to be Esau, or you could choose to be Jacob. Jacob cherished that birthright. He never traded with anyone. He never yielded to anyone. Even, you know that you have to remember one thing. Birthright in that generation in Mesopotamia, birthright is a merchandise that can be traded. So the transaction is totally legit. It's a legit transaction. According to some of the archaeology findings, they find contract. They find contract on the stone tablet of selling the birthright for something. You can do that. You can do that. Firstborn right is allowed to be sold and be traded in that generation. So, in this transaction, Jacob, you know that when Jacob, on the way back to see his brother Esau, who sworn to kill him, you know what is the best way to solve the problem? To earn the forgiveness of his brother, not the animals. He only need to send one servant to go to Esau and say, I'm willing to return my firstborn right to you. And that will solve everything. That will solve everything. But even to his desperation, even to Jacob's desperation, fear, selling or giving up his firstborn right never occurred in his mind. No way. No way. He would never, giving all kinds of difficulties, any circumstance, selling his firstborn right or giving up firstborn right or return the firstborn right to his brother never occurred. He would rather die than that to happen. That's the differences. One, cherish the firstborn right, doing anything possible, by all means, trying to receive this birthright. The other one, who cares? Have it, take it, you can have it. Please do not think that Esau is that stupid. You might feel, oh, Esau is very dumb. Come on, just a bowl of red stew. Later on, you see the way that he conversed with his. Later, you see how Esau talked to his father. He said to his father, during the blessing, when Jacob deceived the father and received the blessing and ran, and he said to his father, Esau said to his father, that my brother is such a cheater, a liar, just like his name. He deceived me twice. That's what Esau said. Esau said, my brother deceived me twice. One for my birthright, one for my blessing. You might have no idea what it means. It means that Esau set up a trap for his brother on the day that he took the red stew. What are we talking about? Firstborn right always associate with blessing. Always. That's how God designed. Firstborn right means blessing. Double portion of inheritance. That's how it is. But Esau purposely separated two things. You can have the birthright, but I continue with the blessing. Why? Because Father likes me more than you. Father loves me. Jacob set up the residue for his firstborn, right? Esau set him up because he knew that he was Father's favorite. So he knew the Father was still blessing. At least he can convince the Father to bless him. Oh, you want the firstborn, right? No problem. You want me to call you older brother? I call you anytime, but blessing still mine. So that's why he said he deceived me twice. Anyone with a sound mind in that generation would not say that because they always know firstborn right associate with blessing. But Esau purposely separate two things to justify for his action. So you know what? He thought that he only need to pay the price of calling Jacob, hey, older brother, you happy now? That's it. He thought that's the only thing that he needs to pay. And he can still convince his father to shower the blessing of the firstborn right upon me, for I am your favorite son. See, I always feed you with good food. But it doesn't work that way. You know what? There was once I asked the students, after the Columbine, you all know about the Columbine massacre in the school, right? The school shooting, Columbine, right? There was a girl who was asked, are you a Christian? And she said, yes. And then the shooter just killed her. So I asked the student that if you were in that situation, what would you do? And one student was so smart. He said, I would say no. But I will do this in my bag and say, oh, I fool you, I fool you. It doesn't work this way. It doesn't. It doesn't work this way, you know. Who are you trying to cheat? Who are you trying to convince? And who are you trying to lie to? It doesn't work this way. Just like Esau had all this thinking in his mind. Yeah, you can have the firstborn name. I will have the firstborn blessing. No, it doesn't work that way. Once you easily, comfortably toss away your title, you don't get it back. The moment when you yield to the world, the moment when you surrender your firstborn right, your title as a children of God, when you surrender it, when you hide it, when you cover it, when you deny it, when you give it up, you lose it for good. Okay? So this is what happened to Esau. And the only reason that God preferred him is this kind of relentless desire. I want that name. I want to have the firstborn right. I will be the firstborn of the house of Israel. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the firstborn in the chosen people. That's it. Okay. So this is something for you and I to keep in mind. What else about him? As I said, majority of his life is not about faith until he was very old. He learned faith in a very difficult way. Maybe that's not the way that you want to go through. Seriously, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go through the difficult way in such a tough journey in order to find what does it mean to trust in God, to have faith in God. I really don't want to. You know, he went through, lost his family, lost his wife, lost his possession, lost his son, lost everything to slowly learn that, oh, God is in control. You want to take the easier way, okay? Not this way. Only until when he was old that he slowly learned that God is the God, the master of all things. So how do you know that? According to the book of Hebrew, the demonstration of the faith of Jacob. Let's turn to the book of Hebrew. It's a very, very weird way to talk about faith. Hebrew chapter 11, verse 21. 21, by faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and worshipped, leaning on the top of his staff. Okay? So in here, the Bible made a very weird conclusion about the peak of the faith of Jacob. Here says that when he blessed the sons of Joseph, that's the top, the peak of his faith. Why? What happened when he blessed the sons of Joseph? The Bible says that he blessed them like this. Right hand is for the firstborn. Right hand for them is the more powerful hand. Okay, that's why when you say the son of my right hand, means the son of my strength, the son of my glory. Okay, so right hand is reserved to bless the more honorable, the firstborn. However, when the two sons of Joseph, okay, Manasseh and Ephraim and Manasseh, when he blessed them, when Jacob blessed them, Jacob crossed his hand and blessed them reversely. And Joseph was angry. You know that you don't usually see Joseph angry in the Bible. Joseph was angry. And Joseph said, Father, this is not the way. It shouldn't be, for this one is the firstborn. But then Jacob said to Joseph, I know, my son, I know, I'm not that old. The Bible says he was dying, right? He said, my son, I know, okay, I'm not out of my mind. I know what I am doing. I know what I'm doing. But this is what God wants me to do. Why the Bible created this as the top of the faith, the peak of his faith? Two reasons. Number one, Jacob himself, eyewitness, what he personal experience, what happened when the younger become the firstborn, when the older demoted, because he himself went over that. He fought for the firstborn right, and in his entire life, he struggled with his brother over it. Fear, anger, killing, hatred, all these things. So he himself knew how difficult it would be when you change the order of the family. He knew. He went through that. I don't think he wants his grandchildren to go through that. But since this is what God wants, so be it. Submission. Jacob took a long time to learn the special character of his father's submission. It took a long time to learn, but he learned at the end. Second, remember we said that Joseph was furious. Joseph was very angry for changing the order because Joseph knew what might happen, for he saw what happened to his father and his uncle, right? He knew what happened to his father and his uncle when the order has been reversed. And he didn't want this to happen to his house. So Joseph was angry and said, Father, it shouldn't be this way. Remember, Joseph was the provider for the entire household. They basically lived upon the provision of Joseph, or the mercy of Joseph, the entire family, including Jacob, including all other brothers. Everybody eat from the table of Joseph, for he was the prime minister. He provided for them. But now, Joseph was not happy. And Jacob did not comply. Why? Because doing this is the will of God and it's the right thing to do. So Joseph learned not to follow his personal preference anymore, but obey or submit to the will of God. And he learned not to run away from pressure, but to stand firm, to insist upon the words of God. That's what he learned. That's why the Bible gives him credit being faithful to execute the will of God, even that was against his personal preference, even that was against his personal preference, or against his benefit, his interest. He's going to make Joseph angry. That was against his personal interest. But he decided to do so anyway, for that's the will of God. And that's why he said to Joseph, I know, my son, I know what I'm doing, for this is the will of God. Okay? So that's the faith of Jacob. It was learned in a very difficult way. And hopefully we don't need to go through that. Okay? Hopefully none of us need to go through all this tough moment in order to learn about God and learn about faith. Okay? Now let's all pray silence. Amen.